Riding along with the bat cam, 100 miles an hour on that camera as they go down the back stretch.
Oh, there it is.
Hard into the wall, the 41 of Kurt Busch. He'll collect the rest of the field.
The 18's in it, the 48's in it.
The 88 is in it. Just on the front edge, she starts to roll now on the apron. The 32 of Matt DiBenedetto. The 4 of Harvick.
20 of Matt Kenseth.
78, Martin Truex Jr. Brendan Gaughan in the 75, the 7 image. You guys mentioned it, Ram Guts and Glory, the big one. When will it happen? It just did.
You never wish it, but there's only so much space on the racetrack, and you can see 2 wide went to 3 wide, went to 4 wide by multiple rows. It just finally ran out of room at the end of the backstretch. We see Kurt Busch climbing out of his car. His day will be over.
And numerous cars parked in the grass. The crowd, you could hear in the background roaring because they saw the 88 get by. Even though he was sideways, he was able to continue on. And the crowd appreciating that. Still an opportunity for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
We saw Kyle Busch as well in it. Think about.
Red flag is out up here, so once you get caught up.
You can see the top of the 88 car. The roof flap, the inner flap. When the flap opens, there's a fabric that comes up that creates more drag. That's just come out of the roof flap. That's an easy fix.
What took place?
Just
looks like the 78. Was that the 38 perhaps of David Reagan?
Yeah, I think it was a 38. It's like that 78 trying to make it 4 wide. That's the moves we see drivers make. Late in the race, you can see right there the 78 trying to get on the outside.
And this is what we talked about all week. Why do the playoff drivers fear Talladega? Because these drivers, the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse, Jimmie Johnson, you see heavy contact there as well. 4 of Kevin Harvick. They have to be in the middle of this pack. They have to fight for the points. That's why those stages are so important. Think about the points that were gained by Keselowski, Blaney, even Johnson. He got 10 points over the stages. That's going to take a little of the sting away from this accident because this has eliminated all of these race cars.
And this is back-to-back weeks for the 18 of Kyle Busch to have a wrecked car.
Big hits.
And think about that. Everyone had Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. automatically in Miami. It was, they're automatically going to be there. They have all those points. Nothing is automatic in the playoffs.
Rolling out the front here, go with that 48. Still bottom 3. Keep digging. Try to hold this thing straight. I can't see you here. Four in front of you, slow up high, slow up high, slow up high. Car up high, car up high, car up high, come through. Outside, caution, outside.
And it's good to have communications with the two when that happens.
You saw how quick it happened for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. There he is on the bottom. Boom, there's somebody, from his car. He knew nothing was happening until the 38 came flying in front of him.
And look at the 11 of Danny Hamlin right in the middle right here. There's cars wrecking on both sides of him, yet he sneaks through the middle as well as the 2 of Brad Keselowski on the bottom of the racetrack.
Kevin Harvick's in it as well. I didn't see Kevin Harvick until just now, but Kevin Harvick is also in this.
Riding along. Jimmie Johnson sliding as he goes through the turn. And he hits the wall. Caution comes out.
He got loose. That started early in the corner.
How's your steering wheel? Is your steering wheel on?
Cliff Daniels, young crew chief, immediately asking him, how much damage do we have? Steering wheel off, meaning is the front suspension messed up? Jimmie's answer was yes. Johnson was on the racetrack, currently outside, right there on corner entry. Back of the car started coming around the 48. Jim did a really nice job. Just ran out of racetrack.
He did do a good job. That thing was gone.
You're right here. He's still driving it. He hadn't quit. Wide open in the gas. Now it starts to come around. Get off the brake. Get off the gas. Just could not keep it off the wall.
He turned the wheel back to the left to try to steer it away from the fence. Just didn't respond.
Wow, look at that. He's not quitting. He's not giving up. Just couldn't get it turned back left quick enough.
Trouble.
Hey, Greg. Here's the big one. Man.
Well, there goes half the field.
Sure does.
And it's Ryan Newman leading them around. Oh,
Jimmie Johnson's
Jimmie Johnson.
hopes in his final Daytona 500.
Kurt Busch, another former Daytona 500 winner. Brad Keselowski trying to win it for the first time, all torn up. Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, one of the fastest Fords in this entire field. And here's Martin Truex, who couldn't get back to the lead pack and gets all torn up. Smoke out the exhaust pipe.
That's not a tire problem for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
We are, of course, under caution with 15 to go. Watch the outside line here, Jeff.
You can see Joey Logano really aggressive to the rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all the way up to the 2. And they just, right before the 10 gets there, there's a little bit of movement. And that little bit of movement, when you make that much contact, turns your car right around. That's exactly what happened to Brad Keselowski and the 10 of Almirola.
And that happens right in front of most of the field.
And that really all started with a big push from Joey Logano. Remember Joey Logano talking on the radio earlier about, you got to tell me when I'm pushing that car and it's going to make contact with the car in front of us. Well, that happened right there with
Lap 108, you're clear. 108 at the line here.
Oh, we got a crash!
48 goes around. The big one happening. The one's upside down.
Slow, big wreck behind you.
Kurt Busch climbed all over the top of the 41 of Custer. The 2 is around. Playoff contenders involved. Kurt Busch won a week ago. He's safe into the round of 8. Everyone else is still fighting for points and positions. The 62, Brendan Gaughan, his final NASCAR race was taking place, and he has severe damage to that car. You see the one, Kurt Busch got up and on top of the 41 of Cole Custer.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Tell me the 22 has something to do with that.
You see the AMR safety team on the track.
Oh, Clint Bowyer's out of his car. His day is done.
Two-car looks unscathed here as he was spinning around, just has some flat tires to get back to pit road to change. Daniel Suarez with heavy right front damage here.
We were just talking about Daniel not knowing what he's going to be doing next year. Brendan Gaughan, that Beard Motorsports, a team that has one employee. Beard Motorsports, they're only employee is Darren Shaw, the crew chief. Take another look at what happened.
14 car has the 48 car out of control through the travel and gets into the left rear quarter panel and turns the 48.
Yeah, right there. The 14's pushing the 48. Gets him turned around. Now, off the right. Kurt Busch way up in the air. Fortunately, came down on his tires. There it starts, right there. That trial, we talked about it earlier, that is the worst place. That's where your car has the least amount of grip around this racetrack.
And remember, these race cars are 3,400 pounds flying through the air like toy cars.
Watch them on front, right there on 3 up, right there, low, keep straight, low, come on, straight, hold the brake, nothing's coming. Left, all right, hold the brake right there. We're just going to have a little bit of damage.
So right there, it starts. It seems like it gets calmed down, but another bit of contact. Now the 48's around into the side of the 1.
And the 1's headed into the outside wall at full speed. Frightening view out the front of that car. As you know, that impact's coming. Anywhere from 30 to 40 G's head on into the fence.
Clint Boyer in stage 1 decided to back out of it. In this stage, he decided to go try to get some points.
And look at there on the right side of the screen,
the
18 car, Kyle Busch trying to avoid the wreck.
A little dicey down the back straightaway. Cars get a little bit loose and crazy as they get the end of the back straightaway.
I mean, do they think it's 10 to go?
Trouble. Here we go. Here we go.
Jimmie Johnson got turned, and they pile up behind him.
14, 48. I mean, the whole crowd. There's a 10.
Wow.
Lord have mercy. There you go.
5th caution flag of the day. 7-time series champ Johnson. Clint Boyer is in it. There's Jimmie's Chevrolet all torn up, and he's climbing out. Now watch Jimmie Johnson outside, 2nd row.
Oh, they got 4 wide. What happened was the 1 car, he snuck to the outside of the 48, getting into turn 3, and the 6 tried to go to the inside. Just not enough room to make it 4 wide right there.
And Mike, I know you won't, but the cars are the most difficult to hang on to at the end of that back straightaway.
McMurray's got a big run off of turn 2, giving him a nice shove down the back straightaway. You see the momentum going forward. Now, look, Jimmie just barely clears the 6 as the 1 makes a little contact. When that happens, it shoves Jimmie a little bit to the left. 1 starts to go to the outside. There's just no room to go 4 wide as the nose of the 6 with Trevor Bayne was inside the 48. Big impact right there. DJ Kennington getting into Jimmie Johnson as well.
They stay side by side, and now the advantage goes to Kyle Busch on the outside. He made that outside line work. Oh, around goes the 2. Into the wall. The 14 of Clint Boyer also up. The 48 of Jimmie Johnson slams the wall hard.
How bad is it, brother? Yeah, it's real bad. Missed the 2 when you were spinning.
Hard hit by Jimmie Johnson.
Something broke, and then I hammered the fence.
Talk about restarts every week, Steve. So when people are digging, trying to make something happen, it's the easiest time to pass, but you have to be aggressive to make it happen. You see Brad Keselowski underneath Clint Boyer just got loose. Could not hold it. Air got pulled off the car. Same thing we saw last year. Entering turn 3 side by side is very difficult. Jimmie Johnson in the wall.
And the 48 is in the wall in turn 3.
Oh, blew a tire.
Jimmie Johnson, you see the damage to the right side of that car. The hood buckled up. Running 11th.
Sound like on the radio he said he blew a tire is what I thought he said right there.
And a lap away.
Oh.
1 lap away from getting the caution.
Guys, just as that happened, there where the 48 blew that right front tire, he was having a discussion with Chad Knaus and Earl as they came to the end of the stage about running the top lane and asking how high to run. They said, go to the top, the ultimate top, and that's when he had the right front blow. They're going to be heading to the garage, guys.
Now, make sure to correct me on this, but if they go to the garage, they're saying that's it. They're done.
Yeah, the damage on the 48 is very severe. The whole right side is flattened up. There's, no way this car is going to get repaired and compete for a win, which is the goal for the 48. So I think at this point, their day here in Phoenix is done, and the chance to win an 8th title has expired in 2017.
Big disappointment for the 48 team. Jimmie Johnson, a blown tire sends him up into the wall and ends his quest to get that 8th championship.
Man. One car around and one in the wall.
Hamlin's in
11 and the 10.
Hamlin, Keselowski involved, and Almirola, and Jimmie Johnson.
Oh, he checks up a lot. Oh, that gets 11 loose underneath the 10 and Almirola.
Oh boy, the 2 got a ton of damage. So did 48. Wow, the 48 plowed in that inside wall. There's a 6. That took out a bunch of cars, guys.
So it's Denny Hamlin that goes sideways in front of half the field.
This is why it's so important to have a wall that's softer on the inside as well as the outside.
Block from Chase Elliott. I think fortunate to get away with that.
How about Alex Bowman in the 88?
Oh, he gets a shove. He's going to go sideways right in front of the pack.
The 48 caught up. The 9 is caught up. The caution has come out. He got a big shove right into the front of the pack. The 42 of Kyle Larson, he is there. The 11 is caught up. And flames coming out from underneath the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Alex Bowman up front, blocking, trying to stay up front, got a huge shove, and it sent him down low and then right up in front of the pack. Block. You've got to be careful of that. The big one taking place, Bowman was running up front, gets tagged by the 22 of Joey Logano, slides all the way down the racetrack and then back up again right in front of the field. The 48 of Jimmie Johnson got into the 10, who was turned around. It all started with the 18 sideways right on the front stretch. The caution once again is out.
Yeah, they come off turn 4 and the 10 car and the 18 they got together. Both spinning.
Look at the damage of the tank.
Let's take a look at it. Down at 3 and 4. I don't know if there's a little contact there, but they just get together. Really similar to last year's finish, and it turns the 18 back across the racetrack. The 10 spins to the inside. The 48 makes contact with the 10 here. Big contact. Doesn't look like anybody hits Kyle's car. Very lucky. I think he was extremely lucky.
Look at Matt. Look at Chase Elliott. Oh, gosh. I would say that
outside. The 48 still smoking. 3 wide for the lead as they enter turn 3. Brad Keselowski on the outside. Around goes the 48. The 48 blows up and into the wall it goes. The caution comes out again.
You want to know what winning a race means? It means 3 drivers are willing to drive 3 wide into turn 3 at Indianapolis at over 200 miles an hour, where there is barely 2, really 1.5 lanes for racing.
Frustration from Jimmie Johnson. You saw him throw the window net down. Keselowski running on the outside of Kasey Kahne, making the outside line work through turn 2. Almost had the 5 completely cleared when they went down the backstretch, and then the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. We could see that there was a problem with the 48. The smoke was rolling out from underneath it, but he was still able to surge ahead and get 3 wide. He was on the inside going into turn 3.
Well, what a series of events from the time the green flag dropped. Right here, Kasey Kahne underneath Keselowski gets really, really loose, able to maintain it in good spot. Keselowski does everything he's supposed to do, gets close to the 5. Now look how loose the 5 gets. Right here, up into the side of the 2, Jimmie Johnson with huge momentum, with smoke coming out of the back of the car like it's blowing up. Now right now, Kasey Kahne in lift, and I can promise you, it's been a long time since he's win. He's going to drive it in there. Every one of these guys wants to win a Brickyard 400. The 48 car, very bottom, gets loose. Around he goes. Don't tell me these drivers don't want to win this race.
A car supposedly blowing up, and he was the one that made the move to the inside to try to take the lead going into 3.
That's dedication, that's heart, that's desire, that's wanting a Brickyard 400 trophy for Keselowski, for Jimmie Johnson, both champions. For Kasey Kahne, it's, hey, I'm back.
How about Trevor Bayne? He was able to avoid all of that, stay in 3rd, clip the grass, as a matter of fact, as he was going through turn 3.
Look at this, man.
Light contact between the 5 and the 2 of Brad Keselowski, assuming it doesn't cut a tire. That shouldn't affect them on the restart. I don't know what Trevor Bayne was thinking going down the backstretch, but we're going to have to find out after the race, because I'm sure he didn't know which one of the 3 he was going to follow into turn 3.
But you know what's amazing about that? They knew they weren't coming out.
They
knew, that's right. They knew they were going in there 3 wide. They were pretty sure they would be the one that came out, but you have to know 3 wide at Indy, somebody's not coming out of that corner.
And let's go to Kelly. She caught up with Jimmie Johnson.
Jimmie Johnson released from the infield care center. Jimmie, man, from the outside, it was quite a sight. What was it like for you blowing up, also running 3 wide at Indy?
I'm not sure it was blowing up. It was definitely smoking, and it was engine smoke, or engine oil smoke. I could smell that. I didn't know where it was coming from, and I had decent grip through 1 and 2. And as I went into turn 3, I had a shot to win the Brickyard 400 for the 5th time, and was hoping 1, the engine would live, and 2, we'd make it through turns 3 and 4. And I've got really loose going in the corner, so I don't know if I spun out my own oil or if it was an aero situation, but so close to that 5th win here at the Brickyard.
Yeah, we heard Kyle Larson saying it was pretty nutty out there, a lot of blocking. What was the racing like for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's the blocking's been there for a long time, and it's so tough to pass. And with stage racing, every position matters. It's just ramped up the blocking, ramped up the intensity. So that's just normal stuff now out there. Mark Martin would have a heart attack if he was out here racing in this era. So the game has changed for sure.
Thank you, Jimmie.
Yep, thanks.
One other game changer is you see Jimmie Johnson has been a 4-time winner. You see his name on there. Once they get the white flag, the next flag will call up to 14 around. Boyer into the wall. The caution comes out just before they get to the start-finish line.
Some big impacts.
Bayne caught up, as is Bubba Wallace. Brendan Gaughan also in this. The 48 of Jimmie Johnson, Trevor Bayne. A lot of damage to Jimmie Johnson's car. Ross Chastain, major damage to the 15. overtime rules. You have to get back to take the white flag for it to be a complete race. Otherwise, they'll try again. This time the caution came out just before Martin Truex Jr. got to the finish line. And we see Jimmie Johnson climbing out of the window. So they will try overtime one more time. You see Trevor Bayne. He's won at this racetrack before, as you mentioned, trying to prove himself again. Clint Boyer got sideways in the tri-oval, hit the wall hard.
Let's take a look at the replay, get an idea how this all started. There you see Clint Boyer and Bubba Wallace. Clint's on the inside. Bubba's got a little tire rub there, but he's shoving and he just turns, pushing so hard. And Clint was moving around on the front bumper. And it hooked him into the wall.
Hard impact into the wall.
Yeah, guys, you mentioned this is how it starts. The 14 gets turned, big impact. But look at Jimmie Johnson come in. He's at the top of the screen. He hits the wall. Then he's into Clint Boyer, and he starts to turn left. He's going to basically come right at me. We talked about the pit box being in the center of the action. Well, this is another shot for the 48. And at this point, he's just along for the ride. But you see why NASCAR doesn't use these last 3 pit stalls anymore. This is basically pit stall 2. I'm 1 pit stall to his left on the NBC pit box. So you see how close it is. You see now how
where to push in the beginning of a run, not use up too much of those tires, not build those air pressures up too much. And he's also, Jimmie Johnson going around.
Into the wall hard.
Unbelievable, our leader. Shaking his head, boy, you know he's frustrated with that. Had such a great car, great race going on. Came up on some lap traffic there. I know his car had been really loose. You could see the back end hanging out on the exit, but I don't know what happened, what may have caused that car to come around.
Johnson was a couple of 100 feet for only his 3rd stage win since NASCAR adopted this form of racing. From aerial coverage, he's pulling up for the pulling up on a slower car.
That's Chris Buescher in the 17. So you see Jimmie turns down low, runs all 4 on that apron like he's been doing. Oh, the 17 had to check up just a little bit, and Jimmie's right front made contact and turned him around. Boy, it didn't take much, just the tiniest bit. Oh, yeah, you can see the 17 of Buescher just gets a little loose, makes a little contact, the outside wall, checks up. He in the 48 of Jimmie Johnson, that Ally Chevrolet.
Jimmie Johnson, 3 wide to the inside. Johnson goes around hard into the wall. Kurt Busch is there. Paul Menard is involved. Others are trying to avoid Jimmie Johnson, whose playoff hopes have just ended here at lap 104 in the Brickyard 400.
Yep.
just at the stage. It's going to take more than points.
Brandon, to it. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just curious why we were in that position.
There you have it. Jimmie Johnson was down at the bottom of the racetrack, and there was a lot of competition for the position he had. But look at the side of that race car. And we heard it too. That car destroyed. Coming through 1 and 2. Again, Jimmie Johnson was running in the 7th position.
Well, let's take a look here and see why Jimmie was in the position he was in. There he is on the inside, making up ground here, trying to draft there 3 wide right there. And I don't know, Jimmie just doesn't think he had enough room down here. His teammate very tight on his door. That was the Byron car, but I don't know if Jimmie knew they were 3 wide. We've seen it already at one time over there today with Eric Jones. The car's losing a ton of side force when they get really close together in turn 2. Just sucked the 48 car right around.
Yeah, the one car, Kurt Busch, he just had some issues and just got up the racetrack, and that allowed both of these guys to get underneath them. And you said it. I mean, when you get underneath somebody like that, it's easy to get the air taken off of your spoiler, and just around they went 3 wide. Just normally doesn't work very well at Indy. It's just not a wide racetrack, enough groove. Well, what do? Jimmie Johnson's got to push. He's got to make something happen. Ride them all.
Two out there.
See the view he has.
Still two.
Oh, he's been told two. The whole time he's been told two. He's got a spotter.
Yeah, he knows he's got two guys out there if he's listening to the spotter.
But
the 24 just gave him no room, and I don't know if William could have gave him more room or not, but there just wasn't any room.
You know how it is, Junior. When you've got a guy underneath you and a guy on the outside of you, the only reference you really have is the car underneath you. That's the one you can see, so you try to get as close to him as you can. Because the guy on the outside might be right on you as a right along Ryan Newman. He found his way through this.
Come on, bring it on.
And as Jimmie Johnson's hopes go up in this wreck, Ryan Newman, he has more opportunity now.
Another shot at it. Newman has still to make the playoffs.
Hard contact with the 8 car there. We saw Parker Klingerman, who had worked his way up in the top 15 before this caution, before this restart, getting caught up in this as well. There's a lot of guys caught up in this wreck, for sure. But there's a lot of guys that did a lot of smart things to avoid being in this wreck and getting more damage. There's a lot of guys saving their race cars. Look at the 21, the 37. You're thinking at that moment that they're going to be in this wreck. 37 gets her straightened out. 21 has a little bit of damage there. Pretty impressive driving by a lot of these guys.
Yeah, Steve, you said it. Well, you see that yellow car, Flint Boyer, you know what's going through his mind. We just pitted. Well, you put me behind all these people, and now we got this wreck, but fortunately he avoided that wreck, Kelly.
Yeah, Jimmie actually drove his car back down to pit road so that crew chief Cliff Daniels could get a little look at it. But unfortunately for this team, he said, we are done. He's asked Jimmie to drive that car back to the hauler. And though their day is done, Cliff Daniels thanked his team and said, I promise you our season is not done. We've got a lot left to do. But disappointment, Jimmie Johnson will not be winning an 8th title this year.
Oh, my.
Fucking brake fail. Wowzers.
Running 7th, Johnson with a brake problem, and Jamie McMurray has destroyed the right side of his car.
Yeah,
whose brakes fail? Was it Jimmie Johnson or was it Jamie McMurray?
I don't know, but I don't know. That's a hard hit, boys, I tell you. That was a big hit for that 48 car. Looks like pretty similar hit for this 1 car.
As a race car driver, this is one of your biggest fears is a brake issue here. Oh, he's going to get out in a hurry.
They were running 7th and 9th, and it's crash and burn for Jamie McMurray's car.
When I see that right front on fire on that 1 car, that makes me think he may be the one that lost his brakes. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to take a look. But that's a fire in the right front, which could be from the brakes. Johnson was.
And that is the first caution flag of the day, other than the stage-ending caution at lap 50. And now fire at the rear of McMurray's car as well as the right front.
I think he knew to bail out of that thing because he got out and ran away from it.
Well, the cockpit is completely filled with smoke.
Yeah, and that's oil that basically has come underneath the car and covered the back of the car.
Jimmie Johnson takes a seat.
That knocked the wind out of Jimmie, Jeff. That was a really super hard leak. Even though that's safer barrier, that got it. That really rung his bell.
Johnson and McMurray were out for a bike ride yesterday and got caught in a downpour.
Yep.
Just and they had to stop their ride. It was raining so hard. And now look at this. Jamie hops the barrier. Good to see that he is okay. Hard hit and a big fire for his #1 Chevrolet. Jimmie Johnson has caught his breath. And let's have a look at some replays.
See what we can see here, Jeff. Mike.
We're watching the 48 Jimmie Johnson. That's right in the braking zone. See if, right there.
You see the smoke, yeah. Actually, the right rear. It looked like fire in the right rear.
It did look like a failure in the right rear. He turns left trying to get away from that wall. Heavy impact. The right side. That'll take the wind out of you. Now, what happened here is what we've got to figure out. How did Jamie McMurray get involved?
I don't know how much brake fluid would have come out of that 48 car, but it could be that Jamie Mack hit something from the 48 car.
Or were there any parts or pieces that flew off the 48 car?
That is hard.
That's a wicked hit.
Remember, we're talking 200 mile an hour down into that corner.
When Johnson's car was going sideways, inside the right rear wheel was glowing bright red. You don't often see that on the rear brake.
No, there was some fire coming out. I think McMurray ran over something.
And that may have been brake fluid that caught on fire of those hot parts on the right rear that we saw was turning red.
All right, we have some audio from Jimmie Johnson's car.
Man, you sure you're all right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Whew, I got away with one there.
And from Jamie McMurray.
Brake pedal's getting pretty long again. Got the pedal hanging on the whole time. You're all right. You must have oiled it up or something. Actually, my brake pedal went to the ground.
Oh, man.
Gosh, they both sound like McMurray had trouble with his brakes.
And, guys, when you talk about the right rear, remember what I said earlier. It's always a concern. The weak link is melting that O-ring, and when you do that, all the brake fluid just runs out of the caliper.
Go back to Matt.
Great to see Jimmie Johnson walk out of the infield care center. Now, Jimmie, had you had any kind of braking issue before that, or it just went right to the floor?
No, it went right to the floor, and I saw a replay inside the medical center, and the smoke, I think, is the brake fluid coming out of wherever, whatever failed, and onto the rotors. I can only speculate that I got the brakes too hot, and when I went to the brakes, they just traveled straight to the floor. I didn't even have a pedal to push on. At that point, I threw it in third gear, and was just trying to slow it down. I was heading to the grass, and I was wondering why I didn't turn right and get to the wall sooner. But I'm fine. Certainly, a big scare. I haven't had a scare like that since 2000 at Watkins Glen. But just let my wife and kids know, my mom know I'm okay, and I'll go change my underwear and get ready to go home.
A great move to try to catch the apron, to try to catch the grass, to scrub off some speed, but also change the angle of that significant hit.
Yeah, I told myself if this ever happened again, I would turn immediately into the outside wall and try to slow myself down, but my instincts, you're looking at the corner, you look at all that real estate to the inside, and I pointed it down to the infield. And once I was in the grass, I was like, man, I've been here before. I should have just turned dead right in the wall and got to the wall right away, but you have a split-second decision to make there, and fortunately this one turned out well for me. Just an exciting ride.
Thanks, Jimmie.
An exciting ride. Boy, that's the understatement of the year right there. You're going to that corner at 185 miles an hour, and the brakes don't work, and you end up hard and into the wall. Anybody up here know how that feels?
Unfortunately, I can relate.